South Africa will be back on stage 6 blackouts from 4 o'clock this afternoon, and petrol prices are also going up by a record R2.57 from Wednesday. Let's chat to independent energy expert Hilton Trollip about the impact of all of this on South Africans. Mr. Trollip, thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. Are we ever going to actually see Eskom sort itself out, or should we just accept that this is going to be our problem forever?
Good afternoon, Masego, and thanks for inviting me on. Regarding Eskom, what the national power system needs is a substantial amount of extra new generation capacity on the grid. And Eskom's hands are tied when it comes to that. That's really in the hands of the Minerals and Energy Department. I don't know if you want me to go into details, but basically Eskom has, the management have inherited a system with a whole lot of power stations, firstly, that aren't sufficient, and secondly, are old power stations which need to be replaced over the coming period. And as they reach the end of their lives, they will break down more and more. It's unavoidable. So we are stuck with load shedding. It's just a matter of how bad. It was an Eskom industrial relations problem, possibly that pushed the load shedding from about 4 to 6 stage. But we're always sitting with a risk of load shedding until we've got that extra generation onto the grid, and that'll take years.
And Eskom has told me that it'll take about 18 months, so we'll see which one is true. But Mr. Hilton, today the petrol price announcement going up by R2.57, and I think 95 octane going up by R2.53. I mean, at some point, the reasoning behind it, according to the Mineral Resources Department, is that there was some reprieve that we got. Are we paying back for them actually giving us a bit of a break from the fuel levy?
So they instituted a slight relief in the fuel levy a few months ago of R1.50, but that's going to be put back in August. They're going to apparently maintain it for this month, because remember, the petrol price is set every month on the first Wednesday of every month. And just the background behind that, the petrol price is far less out of the hands of government than the electricity situation, because most of the petrol we use is either imported in the form of crude oil or petrol products, and these are set on international markets. And currently, international markets for crude oil and for petrol and diesel are exceptionally high. They're peaking historically at the moment. So there's just no way around that, although Sasol does produce a lot of our petrol, and we might look for some relief there. In general, we are subject to international markets. And the government does set the price, but it sets it in line with international prices according to a transparent formula, which is well publicized. There are taxes, so only half of the price you pay at the pump goes directly to the actual petrol price. About 20% of it, so that's 50% on the actual price of the petrol out of the refinery or imported. And then about 20% of the price goes to the road accident, or the general fuel levy. That is a tax that goes straight to Treasury. Treasury use it for what they like. Then about 10% goes to the road accident fund, and then another 10% on bits and bobs. But in general, if international prices of petrol go up, basically the South African price has to track that. Yeah, sorry, Masego.
No problem. So at some point, will we see the petrol price actually decrease at some point soon? Or is the war that, Russia has imposed on Ukraine just going to have us force us to have these petrol price increases for a longer time to come?
So this is one of the big historic spikes in the price historically. Also, if you look over the years, the price is very volatile. It ranges between quite big, it's got a big range. It goes from about $20 a barrel to $150 a barrel. And it really is subject to international uncertainties, wars, economic news, disasters, etc. There are other influences, but basically South Africa doesn't influence that. The question, will it come down? Probably. When, we don't know. Might it go up further? quite possibly. Nobody knows that. But it is historically high. We would be very surprised if it were to stay at this height for years and years. But it could be 6 months or a year, depending on how long this uncertainty in Europe continues, or it could get worse, the uncertainty in Europe and the world.
All right.
And that's what drives the price.
Thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. That was independent energy expert Hilton Trollip.